Well, we take the view that the role of the Commission is to apply the law and to enforce the European Union law. So the Commission has been involved, for example, in an issue that arose relating to the border, the land border that connects Gibraltar to Spain. And there was a time in 2013 where you had lengthy delays of people crossing in vehicles or pedestrians crossing on foot, crossing the border in either direction. That created a huge problem because there are 10,000 people who live in Spain and who work in Gibraltar and who come into work every day and who go home after working every evening. And those people are made to queue up for hours on end in the heat of August, for example, 30 degrees of heat, to get out of Gibraltar or to come into work. So that was a very serious issue. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom contacted President Barroso, who was then the President of the Commission, and the Commission got involved. For us, as a government, there was a fundamental issue of the right to freedom of movement of persons in an internal border of the European Union, which is a fundamental EU right. And as a result of the involvement of the Commission, 3 inspection visits were sent to the border. They checked out the situation. They made a series of recommendations to Spain as to how they should conduct checks on people and on cars, and as to infrastructural works they should carry out at the border as well, in order to improve basically the number of lanes coming in, the number of lanes going out, and infrastructure of that nature. So they made recommendations to both sides. Gibraltar complied immediately, and we implemented everything the Commission asked us to do. Spain has taken a considerable amount of time to do that, but they're also now more or less there, although there are some recommendations which they haven't implemented. So it is an area where, for example, this dispute in relation to people crossing the border and the length of time it was taking to cross, where the Commission has got involved and where there has been an outcome. So from our point of view, obviously, we would like the Commission to be more assertive in relation to enforcing the EU rights which people in Gibraltar and other EU citizens who live in Gibraltar are entitled to under the treaty, and we would like them to be stronger and to be more assertive. But the reality is that over a period of time it's worked. Now, it's not an area where we can afford to wait 3 years, because obviously while this is being discussed and reported on or whatever, over 3 years the number of tourists coming into Gibraltar drops, tourism revenue drops, and obviously there's a risk that many of the people who are employed, who are Spanish, would lose their jobs because the tourism industry in Gibraltar has fallen due to the actions of their own government. So clearly there are areas where the Commission does need to get involved and does need to take a stand, and it has to be to enforce European Union law.